Where was I yesterday? We're a day late on this content only because Thanksgiving was yesterday and I had an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope everybody out there had an awesome Thanksgiving. If you're not from the States and you don't have Thanksgiving, I at least hope that you ate a turkey. Turkeys, there needs to be some type of turkey population control. Turkeys are running rampant. There are now billions of turkeys. They are overpopulating the earth. Everybody knows this. And so do your part and eat a turkey. Thank you. This is a public service announcement from America to everybody who's not an American. Eat a turkey. They're evil anyway. They're evil creatures. Now let's see what we've got here. Inside Star Citizen review time. The title is Arrasted Development.
The ARGO SRV is the tow truck of the universe. It is that single player, I want to rescue, recover, retrieve other vehicles in the game.
SRV stands for Standard Recovery Vehicle.
It's for tugging other ships around. Maybe they're disabled, maybe it's a difficult docking situation that needs help.
It's meant for
Thank you.
you've got ships stranded out in space that they need some help. You're there with your flashing lights and your bright orange ship to go and rescue them.
It's for the player that wants to help rather than go out murdering.
Do you often go out murdering?
Yeah.
I like this dude.
I often go out murdering.
I like that dude.
ARGO has a very strong visual style in our game, so there's a few kind of core elements that we knew we had to have. It's got to be orange. There's no question about it.
Yeah, one of the strongest unified kind of color schemes ever in the game for a ship manufacturer. They're all very industrial looking. And, you know, when it comes to like the industrial look in general, I think ARGO hits it like right on the nail on the head for real.
About that. It needs to have kind of VTOLs that rotate. It needs to have big engines at the back. And it needs to feel kind of super industrial and very functional compared to a lot of our other manufacturers. One of the things that we learned early on when we were doing ARGO ships as a manufacturer is, as the orange is such a bold color, we really want to kind of keep that contained as much as we can. So what we try and do now with our ARGO ships is we still want them to be orange, we still want them to be very recognizable, but we want that all to be contained within one area. And then the underside is kind of like the more mechanical area and the kind of black bellies. And I think that difference between the tops and bottoms really helps to add some believability to the vehicle. Not everyone loves orange, so we will have different paint options available.
The ARGO SRV has 3 tints. It has a really nice white one and a black and yellow one, which is my favorite. And it has also this blue beigey one, which I think out of all the ships is kind of new for ARGO, that kind of color combination. My favorite thing about the exterior of the SRV is that it's very consistent with both the mole and the raft. It has this diamond shape on the top with the circular feature. I like that kind of consistency. It really feels like a family of ships.
Originally, the SRV didn't have much of an interior, but we pushed for like a bigger one.
We've tried to balance both the ARGO utility feeling that everyone loves, along with keeping it nice enough that you could bring in a couple of explorers whose ship's down. You'll enter the engineering area. This is actually where you enter the ship. The airlock or the lift is in the floor of that room. Within this room contains all the components for the SRV. It's kind of like the RAF's corridor, but all compacted and refined more into a single space, so everything's kind of jammed in there, so you can access everything at once if you need to. Moving on, you'll go onto the bridge. You'll sort of be greeted by your standard ARGO styling, your space trucker seat, your ball bars and your nice angled glass. Then moving on to the rear of the ship, you've got the habitation area. In the habitation area, you've also got bed for if you're long hauling, the suit locker for going into hazardous places, and like a gun rack, so you've still got that utility in there as well.
My favourite little bit about that is it's got like a sort of like rest and recovery area for the person being rescued. So they don't have to stay in their busted up soft ship. They can come over to the SRV, sit at the table, get like a recovery coffee.
That you can kind of sit down and look out and you can see your ship being towed by the SRV.
So cool. So cool. But 98% of Star Citizen content creators had you believe in 2023 that there was no progress, by the way. You know, that still boggles my mind. I will not stop talking about that because they all sidestepped it. It just really boggles my mind, man. They were talking to you, man. They were filling you up with lies, man. They were getting that clickety clack on everybody, monetizing your faces, telling you there was no progress at all. Like, that's the craziest thing in the world to me, that they just sidestepped that. Still crazy to me. Some of the biggest Star Citizen content creators out there are guilty of it. They didn't even acknowledge it. They didn't even say, hey, by the way, to all the fans and to all my audience, the people that listen to me, they didn't even take the time out to like acknowledge it. So nuts to me. So nuts.
The ARGO SRV, it has a very large tractor and towing beam assembly on the rear of the ship that the pilot controls. So they navigate towards the vehicle, swap to the turret view that controls the tractor beam, and then they position it and lock onto that ship. Reasons why you would use it: maybe you've run out of fuel and you don't want to pay some exorbitant staff owners fees to refuel. You want your friend to come.
Yeah. Red Bear says they will never admit they were wrong. Red Bear, you're absolutely right, dude. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong. Like, to be a bigger person, it is a character flaw when somebody cannot admit that they are wrong. Inevitably, you're going to be wrong. Like, inevitably, you're going to be wrong. It's a huge character flaw when somebody refuses to look at the facts and just have like a come to Jesus moment and be like, yeah, you know what? I was wrong. Like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But yet these people, God forbid that people think that they are wrong because they feel like if they admit they're wrong, then they're going to lose their entire audience. They can't just be human and say like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. They could never do that. That is like that's so crazy to me.
Tow you back to a spaceport. And most importantly,
most people don't know that you can get repaired from soft def now. But obviously, you won't be in a safe place if you got put into soft def. So the SRV is going to come along, tow your ship to a safe location where it can get repaired. It's like a car recovery vehicle if you break down on the motorway, sort of thing.
It can be towed back to a spaceport, and then that ship can be repaired back to a state of flight.
The SRV really begins to shine once the resource management system comes into play, because you won't always be in full soft def. You could have messed up your engines.
Thrusters could have malfunctioned. Power plants could be worn out and need replacing. All these things are going to result in ships that are fairly immobile, or ground vehicles that are immobile. And we don't want players to just simply go and claim on their insurance for these things as their first port of call. We want people to recover it. It's going to be much more beneficial to you in the short and long term. In terms of using the SRV, the shields need to be down on the target vehicle or ship. So that could be the player has willingly lowered their shields, or they're in a state where the shields no longer function. And it needs to be not fighting against the SRV in terms of movement.
The idea of making a tow truck, I think, is a great idea. When you're a little boy and you grow up and you see the breakdown vehicles sat at the side of the road with their flashing lights on, being able to kind of recreate that, but for our own audience, is super fun.
So that's the SRV, and it is another great entry point into a support career.
We've got a lot of combat and commerce type ships, but it's the next true support class vehicle.
For those of you who don't want to fight, don't want to haul goods, the SRV is there to help you support other players and NPCs in the game.
You want me to say I'll be a tow truck driver? I'm more of a Drake guy.
So you're more of the getting towed guy?
I'm definitely more of the getting towed guy, yeah. I will need a friend with an SRV nearby.
It's for good people who like to help others, unlike Drake owners.
The Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is our annual celebration of all things ship and vehicle in the Star Citizen universe. Whether that's alien starters like the Gattac Sulin, stylish cargo craft like the Crusader Spirit C1, personal people tanks like the Tumble Storm, or the recently made flyable space tow truck, the ARGO SRV. And yes, I know, and I can already see the YouTube comments now.
We already got that ship yesterday.
Well, I like spaceships, and I like the people that make spaceships, and I like showcasing their development. But I hear you. So let's move things forward and discuss the new concept vehicle that's making its debut this Saturday, the RSI ARRASTRA.
Last year for CitizenCon, we did a vote to decide what vehicle you wanted to see next, and the winner was the mining ship. So what we ended up doing is the large RSI mining ship, which has turned out to be the RSI ARRASTRA.
What is ARRASTRA?
Absolutely no idea.
A primitive mill that's used in grinding ores, I think.
The name ARRASTRA derives from the ancient mining tool and technique.
So in StarCitizen, we have a number of mining ships already. We've got the Prospector, which is kind of like your starter outer. The Mole is that kind of first multi-crew ship. It allows you to go out with a few friends and kind of try and work a profit together. And then the top of the scale, we've got the Orion. That's the kind of end.
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, the Orion. The Orion, man, the Orion. This is like every miner's wet dream right here. When I remember when I first saw the Orion, I was like, oh my God, it's everything a miner could ever want. Like one of your big boss miners, dude. Like, get out of town. This thing looks sick. Love the Orion. I can't wait to start seeing this, man. Like, just can imagine like all the ships, man, just like, whoo, this ship right here. This ship does something to me.
End game of mining,
Something.
and we saw this gap between the two. So the RSI ARRASTRA is the ship that fills that gap. So the ARRASTRA kind of combines the core visual elements that we've kind of developed over the years of RSI. It still has that definite triangular arrowhead shape to it, so it still feels at home within the RSI family. One of the things we struggled with a little bit at the beginning when concepting it was we didn't want it to feel too sleek. It really needs to feel like it had a functional purpose, and that really led us down exposing a lot more of the industrial elements. We've built on the idea of RSI layering in their ships to kind of really expose the core framework of the ship down the central
It's got the
columns.
RSI
It
look,
also
man.
has a much more comfortable habitation for the crew to live on. It's got plenty of utility on board for day-to-day life, as well as a place to actually land additional vehicles in the back.
Cool. Here we go.
It has everything you need to
Miners gonna
spend
love that.
a large amount of time away from dock, away from station. It's got an onboard refinery. It's got a large amount of ore.
Sold. You put rocks, you put rock mining vehicles in it. You got the refinery in the ship ready to go, man. Sold. Are you kidding me? This is everything a miner always wanted. This is a miner's wet dream right here. This is a miner's wet dream waiting for the Orion.
Storage as well as onboard cargo. It's a kind of big, serious mining ship, and it allows for a crew of up to 5 to kind of go out and really kind of.
And I love that these different manufacturers all have mining ships. So like depending upon how you want to get down when you're mining, like you've got different manufacturers. You got different manufacturers and you got variety on exactly what type you want to go for. I love it. It's only going to get more immersive. The depth is going to get crazy the longer we get into this, and we're talking about the different types of facets in your careers that you want to go down. Like there will be ships that, there will be multiple ships from different manufacturers that cover whatever career that you choose in this game. And I think that's really gonna make this game like it sets it apart from a lot of other games out there.
Step into that professional level.
What's up? When my mom's like put some moves on, man. Like when she dancing like that. I got my dancing from my dad. No offense, Mom. I love you.
Mining outfit without requiring a big capital ship.
We have multiple stations for different people to actually mine at the same time as each other.
They're all sat together in a very RSI-like bridge section. The remote turrets that are on the ARRASTRA all have some level of transformation in terms of their location. The 2 at the front can slide backwards and forwards along, so you don't require the pilot to have to go left a bit, go right a bit.
But then we also have a large one in the center.
your dreams come true. Do it. Nothing is impossible. Do it. Make your dreams come true. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just do it.
Thank you, Tooth Fairy. Good to see you here. How you doing, bro? Got a celebrity up in here. I love when content creators, like I've got Backspace in here today. We got Tooth Fairy. It's so nice to see. We had Oliver here earlier. It's really nice to see content creators be able to chill here, man. It's so cool.
Which can descend through the middle of the ships.
Can actually transform down through the ship and out the bottom to cover the underside. So really you can mine in 360 degrees with this ship.
And as it cuts through the ship, you can actually see the turret as it travels from one side to the other.
And then additional crew members can help either position the ship if they want to change location or deal with the mined goods at the rear of the ship in the cargo bay. But the ship can also hold ground mining vehicles. If you are planet side, some of those crew members could take mining vehicles that you've stored aboard out and do some surface mining whilst the ship hangs around nearby to tackle some ground mining rocks. So this ship is really perfectly placed for people who want to go mining but don't quite know what they're going to encounter along the way. They are equipped to tackle anything on the surface, anything on space.
One of the benefits of concepting the ARRASTRA now is that we know a lot more about our game, a lot more about how mining works and kind of features in the game. That gives us a much better understanding of what's important for a mining ship. And that's one of the things that we'll take on to when we kind of deliver the Orion in the future. So
this is a great example of how development on some ships improve.
Oh, man, those big old crunchy teeth on the front. Crunchy. Get out of here with this, Orion. Get out of here with this.
Moves and expedites others. Compared to the Orion, this bridges the gap in a few nice ways. It leverages all the existing mining loops and mechanics that we have in game at the moment. Whereas the Orion is going to be solely mining in space. It is a big ship designed for sitting out in deep space, mining big asteroids. It won't be capable of going down to planet size and mining on there.
What we kind of learned from the Orion is that a lot of our RSI ships feel very, very aggressive. They feel very military and fast. And if you think of like a big industrial mining ship, the Orion is kind of the opposite to that. It's this huge kind of bulky ship that is very purpose-built. And what we want to do with the ARRASTRA is take the lessons that we learned from that and combine that with some of the more modern RSI art styles and manufacturing techniques.
The ARRASTRA is the sort of all-in-one mining ship. You've started hand mining at the very start. You've progressed to, say, a rock as the next step, then a prospector, then a mole. This is the big...
There'll be a lot of prospector and mole melts, I'm telling you right now, because this ARRASTRA actually takes care of everything you could ever want right now with all the loops in the game.
Step that lets you do a bit of everything. You can mine, you can refine, you can transport. And then if you want to go even deeper into that, then you go off to the Orion at the end.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the SRV is another fine addition to the working class gameplay ARGO always seems to specialize in. That the RSI ARRASTRA wants to be the next big step in the evolution of mining gameplay before its even bigger Orion sibling arrives farther down the line. And that IAE continues to be the biggest ship and vehicle event of the year. But it's also Thanksgiving. And today, while we continue to always give thanks to you, the citizens of the verse who make all of this possible, I want to give a special thanks personally to the folks behind the ships. Now, all of the ships and vehicles in Star Citizen are only made possible by the variety of content, gameplay, and feature teams all contributing to their look, feel, performance, and overall experience. Despite a few YouTube comments that seem to think Dan McCabe makes some of these things all by himself. Because there's like 62 people on the vehicle content team alone. If only there were a way to make everybody remember that. Perhaps with the power of song. All right, relax. I wouldn't do that to you. Even I'm not that.
I would.
That cringe. So for Inside Star Citizen,
Listen, there's nothing cringy with singing, especially with vocal cords like this. Don't listen to Jared on this. I'm sure he's a good singer too. It's just stage fright. He's shoving it off for cringe. You can't discount somebody that sings songs that make the whole world sing. You can't. You can't just discount it as cringe. I feel like he just called me cringy, and God damn you, Jared. God damn you.
I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
God damn you, Jared. God damn you. So you better sing. Better sing. There better be some singing.
And now, the developers of our vehicles by Disco Lando.
I knew it.
Kingsley Von Walker, Nate Lang, Adam Parker, Chris Law, Ben Curtis, John Crew, Alberto Petronio, Ben Parr, Luke Mello, George Coffin, Rich Towler, too, Corey Benford, Aaron Egan, and Patrick Serrano, Rob Parker, Mark Gibson, and Still, Kevin Turney, then Vimo, and Jen, and Zach Dean, and Josh Crow, and Jay Thompson, Lars Lopkins, Samuel Brito, Chris Gates, Bradley Vincent, Tom Hoskins, Chris Smith, April Dillons as well, Matt Vieira, Matt Monty, Matt Grandjo, Evan Jr., Cy Bowmer, and Tom. Owen and Alex and Alman and Haiti and Leif Livio and Lorenzo. Davender Pelican, Dan Dexter Taylors, and don't forget Man and Triero. With Hosmer McCabe and then Bartram and Tobero, Cooney and Dree and Kel Norris. I'm way past my time, but we still have designers like Josh Sleepy Tom and Mercedes. There's Stocko and Adam and Corwin and Harry and Ben and Paul Jones.
Did he say, is the dude's name Taco? Did he say Taco? That's an awesome first name. If your name's Taco, congratulations for you, and your parents are awesome. But listen, this is why music is important. This is why the power of song is important. Anybody that's going to tell you it's cringe, absolutely not. That was high entertainment value right there from Jared. And you can expect that from me as well. Much, much better than that, just to let you know. Probably cringy as well.